Welcome to Glowing Uranium. My name's Norbert, and today on the bench I have a very different piece of uranium glass than the other ones I showed on this channel, because this is what's considered custard glass. So this is really the third piece of uranium glass that you're typically going to see. You're typically going to see the more traditional green uranium glass, like this, and then Vaseline glass, which usually has a yellow color like this. Now, custard glass, which is this right here, has a very opaque color to it, and this really completes the trifecta of uranium glass. This is really the third piece. And as you can see, and here, this is a bell. So I'm going to actually hold this so that it doesn't ring all over the microphone and blow you guys' ears out. But this is a bell, and most likely this was created by a company called Fenton. Now, Fenton is a well-known glass maker and very recognizable in the glass community by most notably their custard glass designs such as this. Bells were something that they're very known for. There's also plates, which a lot of companies made, and there's larger kind of bowl style dishes, and I'll actually show you one as an example in a little bit. But this is something that's actually very common. These are bells that were hand painted and hand decorated. So as you can see, there are 4 reliefs that are hand painted. As you can see on the inside here, it actually says that it's hand painted and it tells you who decorated it. But what's nice about Fenton is Fenton actually had in-house painters. So they actually hired people to paint these as their job. So it is very, very common that when you find a piece like this by Fenton that has reliefs or bells or whatever the case is, chances are on the bottom it's going to say hand painted and it's going to give you the name of a decorator. So that's very cool, and it makes these very collectible. On top of the fact that they're uranium glass, one of the things that, at least from a few collectors that I spoke with and that I personally like, is when you have the awesome feeling of finding 2 pieces that are painted by the same person. It's not very common to find that because they did have a lot of painters, but when you do find it, it is really satisfying and really, really cool. Now, it's very difficult to see on custard glass, but there are actually reliefs on here. Now, in case you can't see it very well, it pretty much has a leafy and floral design along the reliefs, and then along the stem, you also have flowers pretty much going all the way up with leaves. So it's the same design, just repeated vertically up the stem. So let me show you another piece by Fenton that you can kind of compare and see that true Fenton style. So let me show you another piece I have. I'm actually going to show you 2. The first is this right here. Now I'm going to do a separate video on this piece, but this is another one of their bowls, and you can see also some nice floral hand-painted designs. Now this one doesn't have any fancy reliefs on it, but as you can see here, hand-painted by Colleen. And you can see very similar style in how they wrote hand painted. So these are in-house decorations, which is really, really cool. And again, it is really awesome when you find pieces painted by the same person. Another piece, you have another bell right here. This one, Mother's Day, 1980. This one also says hand painted, although this one is a slightly similar design. It does have a very different style of writing on here. So as you can see, hand painted by something Stevens. So it is still hand painted. The design is a little different, but it is still original Fenton, even though the bell looks very different. Now, one of the things that Fenton does is they have historically, maybe in like the late 1890s to like 1910, they did actually make a lot of these bells, and then later on, after World War II, when civilians and companies were able to handle uranium again when it wasn't used for the war effort, they pretty much brought back these old molds and they started to recreate bells, and this time hand paint them. Now, uranium glass, whether it's basic uranium glass, custard glass like this, or Vaseline glass, it is radioactive. The uranium glass is in the name after all. And one of the cool tools that we use in this hobby is a Geiger counter. So this is a basic Geiger counter, and what this does is it measures how many radioactive particles it detects. So you have little slits here that pretty much detect particles as they shoot off of whatever you're measuring. Now, it is natural in normal day-to-day life to come across radiation. So even if you're nowhere near anything, walking in the woods, this will still pick up some particles here and there. And this is a very cool tool to have for this hobby because obviously uranium glass, as I said, is radioactive. Let's see how radioactive this Fenton bell actually is. So if I turn this on, and if I place it next to the bell, you'll see it's actually not very radioactive. It does have some activity, but it's not as much as some of my other pieces. So for example, Vaseline glass is known to be extremely radioactive, but this, not nearly as much, but it is still significant enough because again, it does still have uranium. So as you can see, it does go up, but not significantly. So this is safe to handle, but if you are looking at picking up a Geiger counter, I do have a link in my description. You have all sorts of Geiger counters. This is a very basic one for $100. So if you really want to get into the hobby and really take it to that next step beyond that characteristic uranium glass glow that I'm going to show you in a moment, this is a really cool tool to own. And as you can see, even holding it over here, it's still picking up some particles. Let us turn the lights off and I'll show you the characteristic glow of uranium glass. And in this case, custard glass. And now that the light is off, if we take a look at this piece under a black light, there you go. You can see that beautiful characteristic green glow of uranium glass. Now, if I take a regular piece of uranium glass and put it next to it, that's what they look like side by side when you compare the regular glass to custard glass. Very similar, but also very different. Regular glass is more of a neon look, where this is more of like a dim glow. Both extremely beautiful in really their own ways. And what's really cool is if you have a cabinet set up that has all these kinds of uranium glass pieces with UV lights in there, they're all gonna glow, but they all have their own characteristics to it, which is really cool. And what I love specifically about this one is you can see the paint pretty much has like a purple look to it as well. So that's almost glowing in the dark too, the purple on that hand painted design. You can see the inside there. Very, very beautiful, characteristic glow of uranium glass. Even though it is custard glass, it still has such a beautiful glow to it. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you really enjoyed a look at the Fenton bell that I have over here. It is a very beautiful piece, lovely hand-painted design on it. And I have a couple Fenton pieces, as I showed you earlier in the video. I will make videos on those in the future. I also have a bunch of plates that were hand-painted. Very cool stuff. Fenton has a lot of nice stuff, and having some pieces of custard glass alongside your more traditional pieces is a really awesome thing if you're building up your collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe if you want more videos from me. If you like me, but not so much this content, make sure you also check out my other YouTube channel, Driveway Journey, where I talk about kind of my journey from my current car to my ultimate dream car. So if you're a car guy, make sure you check out that channel. If you're into uranium glass, make sure you subscribe right here for more pieces like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time.